Hey guys, it's Aaron and I want to show you the different tape measures that I use in my workshop. So these are all by FastCap. There's a couple of things that I really like about these. The first thing is it has a pencil sharpener. So I don't typically use pencils a lot. I may have a mechanical one I like, but sometimes you have those and it's nice to be able to sharpen it to a point. You can also write on here, so I can actually write on this surface and I can erase it later. Some people use the rubber to actually erase things as well. And then, it locks this way permanently. And then you have a button at the bottom which you can use. So, and that way pretty standard, but I love having the sharpener, very smart. And it also has the writing surface. So these divide into a couple different categories. You have imperial and metric versions. This one in particular is nice because it has metric on one side and imperial on another. And I'll show you some of the markings in a moment. This one is only metric. Let's see here. And then some of these other ones, let's see, I don't know if I have any that are just, okay. This one is a special one. This is what we call the burn one. So essentially, the first 2 inches is just blank, and what you do is you set your 0 mark down. And I'll show you that in a moment. And then finally, we have what we call the flat back. So if you look at this, it's quite floppy, and the advantage of that is when you're trying to get, let's say a panel, you want to measure the distance, it lays flat, and you can mark right next to the surface. So I like that. But it does not go back and forth, this little tab here. So let me show you these up close. So let's dive into some further detail. So this is my favorite, probably the one that I use the most. This is imperial and metric, as you can see right here, so it's standard. Then we have the true 32, which is very similar, but it's all metric. And then we have this one, it is very similar, but it's what we call a flat back. And I'll talk more about this. So with this one right here, a couple of things that I like about it. First of all, you can see on one side we have the imperial, then we have the metric. It's got the different fractions that are available. It shows you, if you go 16 for studs, we can also see these little diamonds. These work with a 32 millimeter system that's very popular in Europe for building cabinets. Let's see, I think if we go to 768, yeah, 768, that's usually the height for lower cabinets, as I recall. Again, you can see these different markings. So it's got a lot of different markings on it, very nice. One of my favorite features that sets this apart is I can write on this. So let's say I want to take a measurement. I can say, okay, well, it's, I don't know, 768 by 800. I'm not going to use my spit on camera, but there's different ways that you can get rid of these markings. So I love the fact that I can use this like a dry erase, almost. Some people, I think, will take it like this right here, and they may erase things. I don't really want to use up my rubber that way. Just buy a regular eraser, but you could if you really need to. And like I said, it has this button here, so that way it can hold it, or you can just full on lock it. I do have a much larger one. This one's 16 feet. I have a 25 footer, which is somewhere around here, but I use a 16 a lot. 25 is great if you're doing more carpentry, big things. The second one that I use a lot is the True 32. Like I said, it works with a 32 millimeter system in Europe. We also use that here a bit as well. And so every 100 millimeters, it's marked as red. It's got little diamonds that the other one has, and it has some sayings that just say, golden rules, keep it simple, stupid, remove the opportunity for mistakes from the process, set the next person up for success. You still get those studs. I mean, if you're doing studs, you still have this. I wouldn't use this for laying out studs, but whatever. You get 32, again, for studs. So, again, very similar, just that both sides have it, which I like having both sides. Now, this other one I'll just bring up here. Let's see here. Not this one, but right here. This is the imperial version, and again, you can have it on both sides, which I like. Now, let's talk about this right here. This is what we call the flat back. And why would you want to have a flat back in the first place? Well, it's because when you are laying out, you can have your tape directly onto the surface. Now, as you know, with most tape measures, they don't want to do that, right? And there's a reason for that. When you want to measure and you want to stick it out far, you need this rigidity. But the sacrifice you make is you have to kind of turn it like this and everything to get it right on the surface. Well, you don't have to do that with this one. Again, it just lays right flat on the surface. And also, there's no give in this. It's fixed. It's not going anywhere. It's not moving. But it is kind of hard to see where the beginning point is. And that's where my other one is kind of cool. You have what we call the burn one. What people used to do is they would take a tape measure like this and they would start it at 2. But the problem is, if you forgot to subtract, let's say you want to make it measure from 2 to 10, so you say, I want to get 10 inches. Well, you don't do to 10 inches, you do to 11 inches. But if you forget, then you're an inch short. This one takes it out. Now, what this thing right here does, I don't know. I think maybe you could put a pencil in there and do arcs. I have no clue. But this, it sets the 0 to being here instead of being at the end. And then that way you can lay it on your material and again mark. This is really great for timber framing and other applications. And just in general, if you want to have burn the 0 but not forget that you did it. So that's how I use that. Now these right here, this one's a little interesting, not this one. This right here. So this is what we call the story pole. The idea is that you can actually write notes in the margin here, which can be very useful if you are doing repeat measurements and you're like, okay, this is the frame height or whatever the case may be. You can write in the notes. It's not that you can't write it with this one, but you can see it wouldn't be as nice. So sometimes when you're laying things out, you can write notes and annotate it, and then you can remember your marks. So I have 2 bonus ones that I just thought about. I had the little Milwaukee, it's a 6-footer, and then I have this IKEA one, which was like $2, and it's 9 feet. Now what I like about this is, as you can see, it's small, but it's got both the imperial and it has the metric settings for those who want it. Again, every 100 millimeters or every 10 centimeters is marked out. I don't know that it has stud locations. Let's see. Does it? Oh, I think it does. Let's see. Let's go 32. It does. So you can lay out studs on this. Pretty cool. Let's see if it goes to 768. It doesn't. So, but for $2, it's got a nice feel to it. Rubberized. Again, it locks as you'd expect. Not too bad. Now this one I carry with me all the time. Put this away. This one, it also does imperial and metric. And let's see, does it do studs? That would not be very useful in this situation, but let's see here. Oh, it does. Doesn't cost them anything to put a diamond, but probably not going to use this for many studs. But it's nice because, again, look how small this is. It's tiny. I like the rubberized surface. I guess you could erase with it. Again, I don't like to wear it off, but this is about $7, so it's a little more expensive. And I just carry it out and about with me because it's so tiny. Throw it in my pocket, keep it in the car. You just never know when you need to measure things out and about. And if you want to put in your keychain, you can, although let's be honest, it's kind of big. So these are the tape measures that I use and love, but this one, this is really fun. And if you like Milwaukee, then there you go. If you love IKEA, which you may not, it's still a good one. And surprisingly, for $2, I can't really beat it. Plus, it's Swedish.